Rest well, my love. Written by Just Thinking Drabbles. Read by Rashi. Rarely were the moments that Hubert allowed himself some time to rest, and even more rare were the times that Ferdinand was there to witness it. There were countless instances where he had attempted to get his husband to nap after working for hours on end, and they always ended with the excuse that he was not tired, that there was more work that needed to be done, and with much arguing and reluctance, Ferdinand would always concede, allowing him his unhealthy habits. But he still couldn't help but worry. Hubert was exhausted, and that was made evident by the dark circles beneath his drooping emerald gaze and his ceaseless yawning, as he reread the same paper he had been staring at for the third time in a row. Despite his insistence that he was fine, however, Ferdinand was determined to make him want to rest, and when Hubert requested another cup of coffee, he had offered to retrieve it. When he went to fetch the beverage, he replaced the coffee with a cup of warm tea, in hopes that when he drank it, it would help him feel relaxed. Hubert would obviously notice, but he wouldn't argue with him if Ferdinand looked at him with his pleading eyes, a gaze which his husband often referred to as the puppy dog look. As he delivered it to Hubert's office, he hummed a soft, soothing tune, something he knew Hubert would like to hear when he was just going to sleep in the early morning hours, and Ferdinand was starting to get up. It helped him feel safe and comforted, and within minutes of listening to it, he was always fast asleep. With any luck, he hoped it would have the same effect on him now. He knocked on the door to notify him that he was entering, but didn't wait for an answer as he stepped inside, knowing Hubert wouldn't mind if it was him. It was a privilege that very few people were given, and Ferdinand was happy that he was one of them. When he came into the room, he expected Hubert to be leaning over his desk and scribbling away furiously on the parchment he had been writing on earlier. It was no wonder that he complained of back pain all the time with his constantly horrible posture. But what he found instead was his husband fast asleep on his desk, one arm supporting his head like a pillow, while the other still had a loose grip on the quill he'd been using. Ferdinand smiled as he placed the tray of tea on a nearby table and came to his side. He removed the quill from his hand and put it away before brushing his hair out of his face and kissing his temple softly. Maybe it would be better to wake him, since this was not the most comfortable place to rest. But he was afraid that if he did, his darling would just go right back to working. So instead, he decided to let him sleep and removed his cape from his shoulders, draping it over Hubert's own to give him a bit more warmth. "Rest well, my love," he whispered, and gave him another kiss before taking a book from one of the shelves and sitting on the nearby armrest to read, while he watched over Hubert.